Welcome, everyone. So today's program is brought to you with funding from the Iowa Energy Center. This is the Iowa Community Solar Webinar. We are going to start today. Joel Logan, Director of Energy Services at the Iowa Association of Municipal Utilities, will share a little bit about background about community solar and also what the munis are doing.
Okay. Well, thank you, Pat. Thank you for this opportunity to talk about community shared solar programs. As Pat said, I am the Director of Energy Services at the Iowa Association of Municipal Utilities. Iowa has 136 municipal electric utilities throughout the state, primarily serving specific communities. And I think community solar is something that's of high interest to many of the municipal utilities in the state. I'm going to start my presentation on just giving a little groundwork on what is community solar. There's a couple different names that are used: community solar, shared solar, or community shared solar. Those are probably the three most commonly used terms, and really they all mean the same thing. It's just a solar electric system that provides power and or financial benefits to multiple community members. And I think it's helpful to understand that this is in contrast to a solar array that is built to serve a single person or building or customer, such as a rooftop solar array on a home or business. So in community solar, there's multiple people coming together to own or take benefit from a solar array, to take that energy or that financial benefit. And there's quite a number of ways that can be done. And we'll get into that just a little bit on the next slide. But why is there a strong interest in community solar right now? I think one of the big points is that community solar can expand the access to solar participation. A study by NREL a few years ago found that only 22 to 27% of residential roofs are suitable for solar PV. And that's due to a number of reasons, including potentially structural limitations, building ownership. So if you're renting, you're not going to be able to install solar on your apartment or rented home. Shading is a big concern. Certainly in Iowa, we have many communities that pride themselves on their trees, and there's a conflict between trees and solar PV and getting that solar resource. So there's not everyone can do solar on their home, and likewise, not every business can have solar at their business. Some other reasons for community solar is improved economies of scale. If a community is going together to build a solar array that's many hundreds of kilowatts or a megawatt or more, they're likely going to achieve economies of scale that drive down the cost of the energy produced by that solar array compared to a smaller system located on a home or business. So it can improve the financials for everyone involved. It also allows the solar array to be sited optimally for getting the solar resource. Above, I mentioned shading can be an issue. And if a community solar array may be able to be sited in a location that has no shading, so that you get the maximum amount of energy production from the system. Another benefit of community solar is the increased public understanding of solar. Certainly, doing a community event allows quite a bit of public visibility of solar compared to individuals doing solar. I think maybe in the Cedar Falls example we'll hear about later, that might be highlighted that there's a lot more public discussion of solar in the community due to the community project. So those are just a few of the benefits. There's certainly others, but these are probably the largest benefits to community solar. I want to talk about some of the basic differences in different types of community solar. And I'm going to talk about a capacity-based community solar model or an energy-based model. And this is really just how the individuals participate in the project and how they pay for participation and receive benefit. So in the capacity-based model, which seems to be what is currently popular in Iowa with the projects that are being built, the participants purchase a share in the project up front. So there's they put a payment down up front that goes to help construct the project, and in return they receive a share of that project. That share may be a single panel, it may be part of a panel, but it's really they get a proportion of that entire system that's being built. And in return for that investment, they would typically receive a monthly credit. If it's a utility-based project, a monthly credit on their utility bill for energy produced by their share. So it's similar to investing in a solar array on your home, where you have a payment up front to purchase and build the system, and then you get savings down the road. Couple pros for this type of model: the participants have a strong sense of ownership. They, they may get a certificate saying they own a share, or they may be assigned a panel that they even can point to. So they really feel like this is this kind of community solar project, that they have strong ownership in it and they're part of that project. And another benefit is typically once you've paid for a share, there's no ongoing costs. So a participant will know exactly what their cost is to participate up front. Couple downsides or cons to it are it does require that upfront payment. So even though a share price may be just a few $100s, that still may be a barrier to some, or they may just not feel comfortable with that, or even have the money available at the time. So that is a bit of could be a detriment to participation. And it also may require a participant to sell their share or somehow transfer their share if they move away from the area and can no longer participate. So there are some, I'd say the cons on this are the barriers to get in and out of the project. Another model for community solar, which hasn't been quite as popular in Iowa in the current projects, but certainly elsewhere in the country is used, is an energy-based model. In this model, participants don't pay for a share in the project. They simply have to sign up to receive a set amount of solar energy every month from the solar array. And then they typically will pay a fixed amount for that solar energy for the life of the project. So in this model, people can enter and exit participation in the community solar project a little more readily. But the big benefit is that because they have a fixed cost for this energy, they can use that as a hedge against rising energy prices. So if you participate, maybe the utility or the entity building the project will guarantee that the energy from this system will always cost a certain amount of money over the next 20 or 25 years. Whereas we have a good probability that other electric rates would rise over that time period. Some cons to that are that because participants can enter and exit the project more easily than in the capacity-based model, the organizer has a little bit more overhead in maintaining full subscription to the project. And also, even though that the energy price from these solar arrays is fixed over the life of the project, in the beginning that may cost more than typical energy from your utility. So you have the advantage that you can hedge against rising energy prices, but you may be paying a premium for the first couple of years. Not necessarily, but that's possible. So those are kind of two very broad models on how the participation in community solar projects can be set up. I'd like to move now into talk about 4 projects at 4 different municipal utilities in Iowa. And they kind of demonstrate a couple different ways and flavors of doing community solar in partnership with the municipal utility, at least. First one is a project that Traer Municipal Utilities is doing. Traer Municipal Utilities serves about 1,500 customers in the community and surrounding area of Traer, south of Cedar Falls, Waterloo. They constructed this project in response to customer inquiries and interest in solar, and it became operation in October 2013, and it is 60 kilowatts of solar. You can see the picture there, and everyone in the community who was interested in solar was able to participate and purchase as much solar as they desired for their needs. This particular project, each share equated to a single solar panel, and that was $530. The municipal utility designed and built the system, and they are providing monthly bill credits to each participant in the project for, I believe, 20 years. And then they do have space for some significant expansion. They're currently 60 kW of capacity, and they have space for 250 kW of capacity. I don't want to steal the thunder from Aaron Buchanan, but Cedar Falls Utilities, their simple solar project, they're advertising that now, and I'll just put this up here, and I'll let Aaron go further into their project in her presentation. Waverly Utilities serves about 4,700 customers in the Waverly, Iowa area. And their project is maybe less of the traditional community solar project. It's 10 kilowatts of solar installed in 2010. And it involves a rooftop fixed tilt system, as well as 2 ground-mounted dual-axis tracking systems. It doesn't have the traditional participation or selling of shares, but because Waverly Utilities is a municipal utility, it really is a solar array that is serving the energy needs of all the members, the citizens, the residences, and businesses in that community. And the third project I'll mention is one by Muscatine Power and Water, and this is actually the oldest project of the 4 that I mentioned. Muscatine Power and Water serves just over 11,000 customers, and to date they've built 5.5 kilowatts of solar and wind, you can see in the picture, through their Green Muscatine program. And that's a program that's more of the energy-based program, and this is the program that other utilities do where customers can sign up for green energy. And so through customer subscriptions for green energy, they've built these solar arrays and a small wind turbine, and they are currently looking at building a significantly larger community solar garden in the range of several hundred kilowatts. So just a few thoughts on starting a project. I think, as you can see from the 4 projects I mentioned above, they will vary from community to community. I think the needs of each community, what people want to see in the project will vary. And so I don't think you can expect every project to be the same. I think it's important if you are to talk to your utility, see if there may be something in the works, or if there isn't, maybe if you can work with them to start developing a project. These systems would be connected into the utility electric distribution system. So I think it's important to have a good dialogue and have a good working relationship with the utility on developing a project. I think it's important to research the best practices. I just put up here 2 resources. First is a publication from NREL, a guide to community shared solar, utility, private, and non-profit project development. I think that's a good document to start with if you're interested in this kinds of project. And then also the DOE has a National Community Solar Partnership. The website's provided there, and that has links to a variety of other resources and educational documents on community solar. So I think those are some good places to start, as well as possibly contacting some of the projects that I've highlighted or will be highlighted in the next presentation to see how those projects work. So that wraps up my presentation. And
all right, so that finishes up with Joel Logan. Thank you so much, Joel, and Joel will be here to answer questions later.